Just kind of talking about, like I said, if we talked about all of them tonight, so we'll kind of skip the vitamin and mineral section just for tonight, and we'll kind of pick up on that probably if everyone can do it next Tuesday. Then we can kind of talk about kind of water, vitamin C, vegetables. We'll talk about kind of um, grocery store stuff, and if everybody wants to make kind of a time available next weekend, maybe we can do a grocery store tour or do something like that if people are interested in doing that type of thing. Um, so, so like I said, we'll kind of dive into that next week. So tonight, basically, we'll kind of talk about kind of why nutrition is important, just basically as a whole, just to kind of refuel your body, making sure that you're able to recover um, after workouts, after a hard day at work, stressful days at work, making sure you're being able to kind of thrive throughout your day instead of just kind of surviving, as most people kind of do. Those that don't have correct nutrition, it's kind of hard for them to kind of get through a day just because um, you've kind of felt it if your diet's been off or it's been a little shaky for a few days. You start to feel a little sluggish. You start to feel a little down. So making sure that you have nutrition to fuel your brain throughout the day and fuel your body throughout the day to make sure that you're able to perform at kind of that optimum level that you want to be at, while also at the end of the day being able to recover and get yourself back to that fresh state that you want to be in order to kind of start over again. And especially throughout your day, a lot of people get most of their hydration through their food and things like that. So definitely a big part of it. Also, I didn't put this on here, but also a big part of nutrition is also sleep because the majority of our day or majority of our time, a lot of us do spend sleeping. So um, nutrition is a big part of sleeping, even though you're not eating at that moment. The food and the nutrition that's in your body is actually playing a big part in how you're able to sleep and recover throughout the night. And so first, just kind of talking about this. There's kind of this whole idea that people can kind of outwork their diet or if I really work hard or if I really do this much cardio and things like that, then I'll be able to overcome that one cheat meal or two cheat meals or however many meals a week that you're actually going off of what your actual plan is. And so the thing is that you really just can't do it. Your body won't allow you to. As we talked about the whole fuel part, if your body's not being fueled properly, then it's hard for it to do the things that you want it to do, and let alone to overcome the amount of bad stuff you're putting in it, even though you're doing, uh, you know, 15 hours of cardio a week, still won't help kind of overcome that bad diet. And so, kind of just talking about cheat meals. I know a lot of people think about cheat meals as, oh, it's okay. It's kind of a guilty pleasure in a way. But a lot of times, one cheat meal is derailing a lot of people's meals and a lot of people's nutrition overall because when you think of that one cheat meal, a lot of times the effects of that one cheat meal will kind of resonate or kind of keep going throughout a week, especially with alcohol, especially with high sugar diets because um, you're ingesting a lot of sugar, ingesting a pretty good amount of alcohol. It's going to affect your body for 3 to 5 days afterwards, just depending on the amount of it that you're actually ingesting. So if you eat so much sugar in a day, it's going to throw your body into a pretty good tailspin just because of the spike of energy that you're getting. It's going to burn a lot of your carbs. It's going to burn a lot of your fats. And so then once you come down from that sugar rush, you kind of have a crash. You kind of have a point where your body is kind of looking for ways to fuel itself, and then it starts to dip into your stores. And then as the next day you try to get back onto your normal or regular regime, your body is so out of whack that it's taking it, 2 to 3 days to actually recover from, that. And then also the big one is alcohol, and a lot of people always talk about, hey, can I have a drink? Can I have, in moderation, yes. But the thing is that some people can't use moderation. So, Angie, do you have a question? or did you pop that up earlier?
No, that's from earlier.
Okay. Leslie, are you good? Oops, she's muted. Trying to make sure I get to questions right away before I get to, or maybe she muted herself. Okay, but so alcohol, just kind of in general, alcohol is going to it's a depressant. So basically, what it's going to do, it's going to end up suppressing your kind of your metabolism throughout the next 3 to 5 days afterwards. The general rule is if you drink 5 drinks or so a night, then basically that's going to affect your metabolism for 3 days. If you drink 2 days straight, five or more, it's going to affect your body and your metabolism for up to 5 days afterwards. So if you think in the grand scheme of things, if you're only drinking one night a week and you're drinking in excess of, you know, five drinks or so, you look 4 days down the road and you're still having kind of the same effects, or still having effects, or small effects from that alcohol, even though it was on a say Saturday. You look forward to Tuesday, and your body's still kind of trying to recover and trying to get back to kind of base just from that one day. So the idea of having that cheat meal, it's not just that cheat meal, and I think a lot of people think of it as, oh, it's just like one meal, it's just one thing. When in the whole picture, in the grand scheme of it, it's kind of giving you that effect for a long time. And does anybody kind of have a question about that? Because that's a big thing that I hear a lot, especially with the idea or the whole thing of we have kind of that 80-20 split of nutrition, or having perfect nutrition versus having kind of that guilty meal or that cheat meal that most people refer to it as.
I do. So this is Angie.
Yeah.
So I traditionally, when I'm trying to lose,
Hmm.
Friday night is usually usually it's pizza, right? It's my one cheat meal.
Right.
So are cheat meals in general bad whether there's alcohol involved or not? Or is it okay if alcohol is not involved, or what is your opinion on it?
Right. So just kind of generally, so for you, Angie, being specific, and so if you don't know Angie, kind of where Angie's at, she's lost a pretty good amount of weight, and you're kind of in a range where you're satisfied, but you want to get the more toned, you want to be a little bit leaner. Kind of that's where you are, if that's right.
Right.
Okay, so here's the deal: if you're trying to lose a substantial amount of weight, and you're having cheat meals regularly, it's kind of going to be hard, because you want to get in that rhythm, and when you get out of it, it's hard for you to get back to it, especially for people that are trying to lose specific amounts, and amounts that are 20, 30, 40 plus pounds. It's a lot harder for a person that is a little bit less disciplined, and a little bit less or a little bit further away from that actual goal. It's harder for them to have that cheat meal and then to get back uh, you know back right on track. And so that's kind of that's kind of where it kind of splits, in the sense that if you have more weight to lose, I don't really recommend that you have a cheat day, just because you know if you've been struggling with food, or if you've been struggling with nutrition for a long time, who's to say that that one cheat meal won't kind of roll into two cheat a cheat day, and then two cheat days, and then you're constantly back and forth, up and down. You're on track one day, you're off track the next day, and so if you have weight that you want to lose, and you're kind of a little bit further away from that goal, I don't recommend a cheat day. Now, if you're a little bit more in the range that you are, Angie, where you're kind of at your goal, but you want to get a little bit more lean now, then you kind of have to. It's kind of a personal thing. How fast do you want to get to your goal? And does that cheat meal, or does that kind of meal, does it mean enough to you to kind of derail your progress for that one day, or that 2 or 3 days, that it's going to affect your diet? Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I, I mean, I'm not going to lie, a Friday night cheat meal with leftovers can turn into a Saturday or a
Right.
Sunday cheat meal here or there, so it makes sense.
Right. And that's
And to just
where,
not even have that
right. And that's
around.
where a lot of people kind of get off track. They say, well, I'm going to have one cheat meal. And a lot of times that one meal turns into, the next day and the next day, or it just kind of, like I said, kind of derails kind of your progress. Um, and I think it's important to be kind of honest with yourself and things like that, and making sure, um, that if you are going to have that one cheat meal, it's planned out. You know what you're going to do. It's not just going to a restaurant and saying, "Okay, I'm going to have a cheat meal." Next thing you know, you've put down 2,000, 2,500 calories in one meal or one sitting, and now you're kind of off track, completely for days because not only have you ingested, a certain amount of sugar that's affecting your diet. Now you're at, like, if you're looking to lose 2 pounds or 1 pound a week, now in order to get to that calorie deficit that you want in a week, in order to lose a pound or 2 pounds, now it's severely thrown off by the amount of food that you've actually um, ingested. So I would say if you're going to have a cheat meal, have it planned out, know exactly what you're going to do. Same way as with your food normally. And so don't just go into the cheat meal and say, I'm just going to go to, I don't know, Waldo Pizza and have, with a family and do whatever. At least say, okay, I'm limit myself to 3 slices or 2 slices, and call it quits for the night. Or I'm going to have one beverage or two beverages and kind of, cut it out there, and then send the leftovers home with whoever else you're with. Yeah. So
Thanks,
this
that
kind of,
helps.
what did you say?
Oh, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yep.
Anybody else have anything as far as cheat meals or things like that? Leslie?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. So we'll kind of go on, just talk about kind of, oh, one thing I really wanted to talk about. Okay. So, um, kind of understanding kind of where you guys are, as far as nutrition, as far as working out, as far as, kind of having that kind of honesty with yourself and kind of being, knowing where you are. Um, so, guys, I'm going to give you nutrition advice. I'm going to give you nutrition recommendations, in the gym, things like that. Yes, so you can follow them. I put a great amount of research and things like that into the things that I give you guys. And so I know at the end of it, we're going to talk about the Pro Diet software. Guys, this is something that I've researched. And I've looked at different diet programs. I've looked into, MyFitnessPal and all the other programs. This is the one that sticks out to me, and this is one, regardless that it was developed by one of my mentors. Um, as you know, I'm not really one that follows kind of trends a lot of the times. So um, the recommendations that I give you guys, and the recommendations as far as food, as far as supplements, things like that. I stand behind what I do just because I think it's important. I don't ever sell you guys anything you don't need. Um, that's not the reason that I'm in this business. It's kind of the exact opposite is why I got in this business, is because I was at 24 Hour Fitness, and they wanted to sell people proteins and pre workouts and all types of crap that, and $250, $300 later, person leaves the gym, um, you know with their 10 training sessions, and next thing you know, they haven't come back and they haven't taken any of the supplements. They don't know how to take it. It just sits on their shelf for 3 months, and then they end up giving it to somebody else. So that's kind of why I left the whole box gym concepts, because I'm never going to give you guys anything you don't need. I'm never going to give you guys anything that isn't important for you, or that you don't, or that I haven't researched or looked up, or kind of taken through the ringer, because you guys are a direct reflection of kind of me and my work and my progress. So therefore, I'm always going to be, or put the best tools in you guys' hands in order for you to be successful. So a lot of you guys kind of push and pull on different things, and that's fine. You know, everybody has to kind of find their way. Um, but just know that the things and tools I'm going to give you are things that are proven to work. I know they work. Um, we've had people that have followed the things that we've given them, and they work. So that being said, I'll go over the nutrition software. I know some of you guys that are on here wanted to kind of have a more in-depth look at that, and I'll go over that once we're done and kind of show you exactly what it is. So we're going to talk about kind of the big three as far as nutrition goes. The big three as far as your exactly. Okay, so if I can get my PowerPoint here. Okay, just talking about your body as a system. I forgot about this part. So just your body as a system. You need your basic vitamins, nutrients, amino acids, fatty acids in order for your body to kind of heal and do the things that it needs to do throughout the day. When you don't have those things, the body starts to break down. It starts to try to find ways to defend itself and get nutrients. And over time, if you don't give it what it needs, eventually, bad things start to happen. And that's when you have to, call those doctors and pay those large health bills that we don't want you to have to go through. So if you want to read this, I'll give you like 30 seconds, but I'll kind of talk through it too. So this is one of the things that we kind of talk about with with a lot of our corporate programs that we do or that we've pitched to. It's just kind of helping them understand that your body as a whole needs nutrition and needs exercise, because for a lot of times people, especially in the corporate world, don't believe that this nutrition and exercise actually apply to them. They just go to work, go home, sleep, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Just talking about so big three: your carbs, your proteins, your fat. Your carbs are your potential energy. So those things that you're going to store that directly after you eat it are going to, if you're doing something, be converted directly into energy if needed. Okay, protein, those are your building blocks to your muscles. So they're individual parts, but when they come all together within the strand of muscle, they become they have the ability to repair muscle and build muscle. So, and also your fat is your energy stores. I'll talk a little bit about a little bit about each of them. All right, so I'm going to typo there. First one out the gate. Okay, so carbs. So what do carbs do? Basically, a lot of people kind of have this bad rap on kind of carbs, and so kind of just talking about carbs are your fastest burning energy source, and so it's what your body actually prefers to turn into energy quickly. So when you put carbs in, your body is going to within 30 minutes to an hour be able to turn around those carbs and put them in energy. The thing about carbs is there's two different types, and so kind of getting more technical into the two types. Kind of your simple carbs are those carbs that you're going to eat, and they're immediately going to be turned to energy. Kind of your beans, pastas, grains, things like that are going to be converted into energy a little bit more quickly than your complex carbs. And so a lot of times when carbs get a bad rap, it's that carbs retain water. So when you're eating carbs, when you have sufficient amount of carbs in your body, you're going to have a sufficient amount of water in your body. But you want water within your body because that's kind of the way that your body hydrates itself, and the way it keeps an adequate amount of water within the body is through carbs. And so when you when you eliminate the carbs out of the diet, and a lot of times when you see people lose a lot of weight on low carb diets, is that they're actually, in the absence of carbs, there's actually less water in the body. And looking at that, think about statistically, there's about 79% of people in the United States that are chronically dehydrated. Looking at that, it's kind of that low carb, that kind of just not hydrating in general, is it's kind of making or kind of building that that kind of chronic dehydration that we kind of have in America is that, a lot of people don't want to eat carbs. They don't want to, they don't want to drink water because they feel like when I drink water, when I eat carbs, I get bloated, I get fat. But you kind of need it in order to continue kind of having that kind of hydration level. And so you'll see when people get off of low carb diets, a lot of times they will increase weight pretty quickly because once they reintroduce carbs and the carbs start to absorb water again, then the weight comes back up. And so that's a lot of times where you see, or the reasoning for people that are on low carb diets, that's why they kind of shoot back up. And I know a lot of people have either tried low carb diets or, been kind of in that situation. So, any questions about carbs? Anything like that? Nope. Okay. So, kind of going on from carbs, kind of what we use, especially with the extreme fat loss formula, is a carb cycle, or what's called a carb cycle. Okay. So, we're introducing carbs, pretty high carbs, then we're reducing, then up, down. And kind of the reasoning for that is your body will actually your body needs the carbs, but what it's actually able to do with proteins is it's able to. Oh, sorry. One more point I wanted to hit with carbs. Okay, so per gram of carbs you're getting. Let's see, sorry, I want to misquote myself. So with carbs, you're getting 4 calories per gram. Okay, so 4 calories per gram. Basically, with protein, as you can see, you're getting basically that same 4 calories per gram. And so, as a trade-off, they're actually pretty sufficient as far as calorie count go, but they do very different things. And so, in the absence of carbohydrates, your proteins and fats can actually replace your actual carb intake, and that's what a carb cycle is all about. Is you're giving your body sufficient carbs, for that day, and then the next day you're making it use the proteins and the fats, and then the next day you're making it use carbs, and the next day you're back down on your carbs. So basically, what it's doing is confusing your body and making your body actually use the protein and the fat in your body in order to burn more and get more out of the actual stores within your body instead of having to reintroduce more carbohydrates that are then going to be stored as fat later on. Makes sense. So basically, the biggest thing with protein is that it's kind of the building blocks of our muscles. It's gonna whenever you're lifting heavy, whenever you're doing anything as far as movement, it's important that you have your proteins just because you want to be able to recover quickly, and the way that your body does that is through carbs, or not through carbs, through protein. Sorry. Um, so you want to have your proteins. You want to have sufficient amount of proteins, and the big thing is that we can replace carbohydrates with proteins, and it's very critical to kind of your strength training and making sure that you're able to recover through that. I don't know why this won't let me. Okay, so fats, and this is kind of a big thing, and a lot of people are stray far away from fats and try to get away from them. But the biggest thing for fat is your body actually likes fat a lot. It just doesn't like it in excess. So when your body takes in those carbs, basically what it does is if it doesn't use it immediately, what it's going to do is it's going to store those as fat within your body as a potential energy source, and you're able to turn that fat into energy, and you're able to burn that as as an energy source. And so you'll see that actually fat, per gram is more kind of energy dense than any other of the other two, and so you get 9 calories per gram as far as fat goes. Which, when you think about it, if you're putting in a sufficient amount of carbs and protein at 3, and you already have stored within your body those 9 grams or so, uh, or those 9 calories per gram. If you're still putting in on top of that, it's kind of why, as you're ingesting more and more food and it's storing and it's storing, you're not putting out, your body's going to continue to kind of gain that fat and kind of gain wherever you store fat generally is kind of where it's going to go. And so I think this kind of bottom line on here, as far as your body's going to protect a certain amount of fat within your body based on your genetics. And I think I talked a little bit, if you've listened to the webinar on kind of the mind over fatter and the psychology of weight loss, is that genetically there's a certain amount of fat that your body's going to want to hang on to. So kind of going back to Angie's kind of where she wanted to be, and where she kind of is now, genetically there's an amount of fat that your body is going to want to get into, and we talked about kind of that zone where your body's comfortable with and where it wants to be. And so when you get to those levels of where you're losing maybe a half or maybe even a quarter of a pound a week, where it's not showing on the diet or it's not showing on the scale, but things are still moving. It's hard for some people to kind of have that or be in that area, but when your body gets to that stage, you might look in the mirror and say, I want this, or I want to be there. But when your body kind of gets to that level that it wants to be at, it's extremely hard, because then you're trying to fight against your actual genetics, to kind of get to that stage that you want to be at. And not that I'm going to tell you that it's not possible, but it's more and more difficult too. And even going back to cheat meals, that's where it becomes even more and more critical, because you are fighting against your genetics, you are fighting against kind of that hardwired kind of agenda within your body. And so when you're doing that, little cheat meals and little things like that make it a little bit or considerably harder to get to where you want to go. All right, so kind of going on. Okay, kind of in your diet and kind of where, kind of looking at just in general the diet factor and the nutrition factor, and just um, kind of understanding what we're kind of up against as far as diet. And these are just kind of things that I've kind of seen or heard from you guys, that it's been hard or difficult, or reasons why you haven't been able to follow the diet or haven't been able to stick to it, is that kind of constantly being on the go. And we kind of talked about that briefly, kind of having that plan and being able to implement a plan even though you're out and about. It becomes more and more kind of important for you to kind of say, hey, some people travel for work, things like that. It kind of becomes important for you to kind of put your body and kind of put your mind in front of work. Sometimes that's hard to say, but in order for you to work at an optimal level, and in order for you to be kind of consistent at that high level that you want to be, as far as in your work, um, you know, at work and with your family. I'm sure you don't want to go to work all day and then come home to your family and be kind of exhausted and tired and things like that. So making sure that you kind of put the things in your body that you need to, in order for you to be able, after work to be able to do the things that you want to do, as well as at work be able to perform at the levels that you want to. It's kind of important for you to kind of say, hey, even though I'm at work, do I need to set alarms? Do I need to carry a water bottle with me all the time? Things like that, because it's hugely important that you kind of set your meal times and you set your nutrition kind of daily um, in order to be able to have that kind of thrive level. So a big thing is that at work people be like, well, I have a meeting, wasn't able to eat at that time. So your body's like a machine. Okay, so throughout the day, if you're feeding it at a certain time every day, odds are at a certain time at that time every day, it's you're gonna get hungry, you're gonna want to eat, and then when you kind of throw it off, and one day you're eating at this time, the next day you're eating at this time, it can cause your body to kind of go into kind of a starvation mode, because it doesn't really know when it's going to eat again. Your body is primitive in the sense that we're hardwired to stay alive. So um, if you eat at a certain time every day, and then the next day, or after 5 days of eating at that same time every day, you don't eat, your body is going to go into a starvation mode. It's going to go into kind of a hibernation mode, because it feels like it doesn't know when it's going to eat again. It doesn't know, when it's going to get nutrition again. So its first instinct is to, take away, your amount of nutrients and your amount of fuel that you're able to expend in order for it to stay alive, that day or till it gets another meal. And so after about 5 to 6 hours of not eating, things like that, then your body starts to slowly shut down or kind of pull back the reins on how much it's going to expend, because it doesn't really know how quickly or the next time that you're actually going to put fuel into it. And so that's a big thing. And so you have to be able to provide it the things it needs in order for it to run at that kind of top level throughout the day. And so a big thing also with that, and I know a lot of people get off their eating because of stress, and a lot of people throughout the workday have stress, and it's kind of like, oh, I'm so stressed, I'm gonna go to the vending machine, or kind of have that comfort food that they might reach for whenever they do that. As you guys saw, kind of with Heather, we kind of cleared out all those options that were at her desk that she was able to just reach for, um, and give her more healthy options, and that's a good thing. But also stress can actually, even though you're giving your body what it wants, and this was kind of a more specific client that wants to lose weight and is trying to lose weight, but has a lot of stress that's going on right now, and kind of getting frustrated with the weight that they're at, and kind of not being able to lose. I said your body as a system, when it's under extreme amounts of stress, it's going to go into that hibernation mode, because it's freaking out. It's not knowing what exactly you're doing or why you're doing it. All it knows is that it needs to survive, and those high cortisol levels within your body will actually make you store fat and actually suppress your actual amount of energy that you're actually expending every day. So that's a big thing. So if you're stressed, if you're not eating on a consistent basis, things like that, it's really hard for your body to be able to um, kind of do the things that it needs to do in order to get you the results that you want it to get. Any questions? 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 Okay, so just talking about having a game plan kind of going forward. Does anybody have a plan that they're following right now that they want to talk about, or they want to just kind of touch on, that they like, that is working for them, or that I know, Andrew, you've used Fork and Fit, which kind of provided a little bit of consistency, or a little bit of kind of guidance as far as what you wanted to do meal wise. It kind of took out the option of what you wanted to, or took out the kind of decision making of doing it. Kind of if you could talk about kind of having that preparation and kind of being able to not have that decision every day and just being able to go to the fridge and say, hey, this is what I'm eating, uh, and kind of sticking to that. If
So Fork and Fit was great, Darian. I mean, it was fairly affordable, right? And I picked up my meals on Sunday, and I was good to go for 5 meals a day, for 5 days a week. I think my problem was is that, when it came to Friday night, I didn't have my meals that I was purchasing from them for Saturday and Sunday, so it kind of became a free for all, right? So you talk about it a lot. Like, you can't eat right for 5 days a week and then go off on Saturday and Sunday and do whatever you want and expect to see results. And I think that was the perfect example of Fork and Fit. However, I eat at the exact same time every single day. That was something that I really needed from them. I was always prepared at work. I have a very stressful job. I work a lot of hours. So knowing that I had food right there and it was easy, right? It's all prepackaged. So I could take it to a meeting or whatever. So I appreciated that. And it was real food, which is a whole nother ball game, right? I like to feel like I'm eating something that isn't diet food.
right, right, definitely. So yeah, so having that 5 day a week kind of plan and then being kind of thrown to the wolves on the weekends, kind of a little bit is kind of difficult at times, but kind of having that mindset is that okay, I'm free on the weekends, but if it's really kind of that, if I really have that goal, or I really have that where I want to go, then it's important for me to on the weekends be able to control those cravings and be able to stick to a plan, which is kind of the hardest thing for any of us, even me myself, and just and losing weight and things like that. I mean, we're all human, but the thing is that kind of knowing your goal and knowing where you want to go, and letting that kind of guide your choices, and what you're actually putting in your body, and that's hugely important. And let's see. So kind of having a meal plan, kind of being balanced. Meal prepping. If you've never meal prepped before, you might want to get with someone who's done it before. Ask around the gym, see who's done it before. If you want me to help you, I'll help you. I like to think I'm a pretty good cook, so I'll help you out if you want some help. Let me know. There's tons of different food ideas and things like that, kind of on the 58 Fitness page. Just kind of having those options and being able to uh, be prepared for anything, especially on the weekends, guys. Especially summer's coming up. There's a lot of activities, a lot of things that go on during the summer, and it makes it even harder for you to make those decisions because, of course, everyone wants to be outside. They want to be, have those meals, have a beer, have a drink on a patio, things like that. And it makes it even harder for people who kind of have those goals. It makes it easier for you to kind of get sidetracked and kind of get off track, uh, purely because you have the ability to. I mean, hey, it's a Saturday afternoon, it's warm outside. All my friends are like, hey, we're gonna do a happy hour, things like that. It makes it really easy for me to be like, hey, yep, I'm in. But and not think about those kind of goals that you have. We only see you guys, maybe 3 hours a week, and so sometimes it's a it's pretty hard to say or do things within 3 hours a week when you're only spending basically about 4% of your week with us. It's hard for us to monitor and track, and make sure that everybody, all of our 71 people that we see a week, to track and make sure, hey, what are you doing outside the gym? So it becomes something that you have to raise your hand and say, hey, I need help. I'm struggling. What do I need to be doing here? And nutrition wise, I may not have all the answers. Right now, I'm working on my nutrition certification. So that's a big thing to me is being able to understand and know everything I'm actually telling you, which I do a ton of research, but of course I don't know everything. not a nutritionist or a dietitian, but I'm working on that. So, ask if I don't know. I'll try to find out. I'll try to figure out a way to, or someone who knows to get you that information. And kind of going on. I'll kind of go over. Does anybody have any questions or anything? I'll kind of go over or log into the Pro Diets program and actually show you guys um, what it is, why we use it, and kind of answer any questions that anybody has about it. So if you want to pull up your Pro Diets profile or anything like that before we get started. Um, you guys see the back end of this. Okay, so if you're using Pro Diets, this is what you end up with when you pull it up here. So just going from the start, we don't need the admin. Okay, so in picking, kind of choosing where you are, what you need to, height, birthday, things like that, that's not going to generally change for, as far as what settings you want to put it on. But your heart rate, you're going to set that unless you know your heart rate and you constantly are wearing a heart rate monitor. If you know your resting heart rate, then you'll go ahead and click the default if you haven't done that. Exercise. Okay, the big thing with exercise is that if you do an exercise every day, and uh, if you do an exercise every day and you want to put that within the actual exercise part of the actual program, then sure, go ahead and do that. But if it's not something that you're going to do every day or do consistently, don't put it in there because it's actually going to add or increase your actual calorie intake per day based on um, based on what you put into that. So if you're not, like I said, if you're not going to use it every day, kind of don't add that into that section. And then your body type, pretty kind of straightforward in asking, if you gain weight or if you eat what you want, do you gain weight, lose weight? Just trying to basically gauge where your metabolism now and kind of how your body reacts to food and things like that. And so, kind of, if I eat if I eat right and do those things, then I'm definitely going to start losing weight and things like that. So I'm going to choose number 2. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go head to profession. I would say, read through the actual descriptions of. Can you guys actually see my screen?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Hold on, let's see.
I can only see the slideshow you were showing.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Now we're good. Can you see the?
I can see Pro Diets.
Okay. All right. Are you guys good, or do I need to go back to the? Here's the heart rate screen, the body type screen. Basically, what are you as far as your weight loss, your weight gain, as far as what you're actually eating. And here's kind of your profession, whether you're sedentary and you want to read through kind of the options here, the different scenarios of the people and what they're actually doing during the day, and kind of match that up with your experience and kind of what you're doing throughout the day and your activity level. And then setting your goals is actually, this tab is a little bit. Oh, all right. So once this pulls up. press that. Alright, that doesn't work, so let's reload it. Your internet will work. Sorry about this, guys. Alright, so I don't know. I'm not getting. Well, that's unfortunate.
Muted. Muted.
Alright,
Unmuted.
I think we're back in business. Can everybody see that now?
Yep.
Alright. Sorry about that. Okay, so as far as setting your goals, this is kind of important in the sense that your weight loss is going to give you a little bit lower calorie count. As far as your diet goes, maintain is going to be a little bit higher, and then of course your weight gain is going to give you more proteins, more things like that, in order to kind of give you the building blocks to build more muscle within your body. So when you put in your goal weight, what the system is default meant to do is it's meant to restrict you to lose no more than 2 pounds a week. And that's strictly just kind of a liability clause, just because medically the recommendation is for you to not lose more than 2 pounds a week. So that's all that we can tell you they're able to do. So I have a lot of people that say, oh, I set my diet and it set the date for me. I want to change the date. We can't actually do that. It's not, it's not something that I want to go through liability wise or things like that. So it sets it at, and that's what it stays at. Okay, so your meal types, it gives you a lot of different options as far as your meal types or kind of your ability to.
Muted. Unmuted.
Okay. So it gives you the ability to change a couple different meal types, and there's a few on here, and so as you're going through, so for the first 6 weeks, we do recommend that you use the extreme fat loss formula. And what that basically is, it's a carb cycle, and a carb cycle is what a lot of fitness professionals and a lot of people use in order to get ready or to cut weight quickly before they do shows and before they do things like that. So, do we recommend it long term? No, not at all. It's not a long term solution to your diet or to your lifestyle change. It's just something that we strictly just do to help people get kind of jump started into their diet and into their program. So for me, I don't recommend that people do it more than 6 weeks. It's just something that we ask or that we put people on briefly, so they're able to kind of get started and kind of get in a routine of eating a certain thing. So I'm going to click the extreme fat loss. I know it's already in here, but just so you guys can kind of see um, how that kind of goes in. All right, so you're kind of brought to this whole profile summary user screen. A lot of the questions, if you have them, can be answered in kind of the tutorial section. But if you do have a question about the software, I can help you. So kind of the first thing is just the meal plan in general. What you're getting with the meal plan. So extreme fat loss. Okay, so when you come into this and look at it, a lot of people are going to freak out because they don't like oatmeal. Oatmeal isn't flavorful for some people, and freak out. So there are a couple other options as far as your cereal, oats, things like that. But the reason it does that and the reason why it has oatmeal is because it wants to start you out with a sufficient amount of carbs within the beginning of your day. And so if you need to add, a little bit of flavoring to your oatmeal, go ahead and do that. Sometimes, yes, oatmeal is a little bit hard to swallow for, 6 weeks every day. But it takes out that kind of cognitive, where you have to figure out what I'm going to eat every morning. Am I going to make eggs? Am I going to make bacon? Things like that. It kind of takes out that kind of uncertainty, especially when people are on the go, they're on the run. It's something quick, something easy that you're able to kind of put together and be out the door if you need to. So if you ever want to or need to exchange, you have your exchange button there. And once you exchange something, so say if I want to have some grits, the measurement is obviously going to be cups. And so you can exchange it for this meal, just this meal that's up on the screen here. You can change it for this day, which this day it's only going to be on breakfast, or you can exchange it for all the days, which I didn't talk about, but all 7 days is what. So these 7 days here, and this is in your plan my meals. All these 7 days are going to be kind of what you get. If you want to build a completely different meal plan, what you do is go in and you just exchange the meals and things like that, and build yourself a completely different meal plan. But as I told a lot of people within the orientation, I have friends in the fitness business. Not that this is ethically right, but that are going in and using the software and charging people, a couple $100 a month to build these meal plans for them, and then when they need anything exchanged or they need anything changed on it, they're charging them another 30, 40, $50 to exchange out things, when it's as easy as clicking and picking one of these things, and they're telling them that they have to recalculate their ratios, they have to redo this, they have to redo that, and so they're actually charging a ton of money for the things that you guys actually have you know, in front of you for, you know, for free, or that's included in your membership. So if you want to change it, once you change it, you'll see, hopefully the internet's moving fast enough, but you'll see that at the bottom here, it'll actually recalculate or redo your macros based on that food selection change. Does it? Yeah. So it actually has recalculated first. We were at 51%. Now we're at 50. But it's recalculated your ratios and recalculated your calorie counts to account for that that change in the actual oatmeal to the cereals or oats. Okay. So going to your snack. A lot of people talk about or have asked about the kind of white potato versus, you know, versus the sweet potato, things like that. The biggest thing that I've read that I've researched is that when we talk about potatoes as a carbohydrate or just anything as a carb or vegetables, a lot of vegetables are really high in carbs, and so what this extreme fat loss formula, what it's doing, and is it's trying to account for your carbs with your proteins, and so it's trying to make your body use its already stored up energy sources in order for you to burn and get rid of the excess fat and the proteins and things like that that you have stored up within your body. And so, as far as white potatoes go, I've had a couple people kind of comment on, you know, I've always been told I don't want to eat white potatoes. The biggest thing is that as far as white potatoes go, they take a little bit longer for your body to burn as far as the carbohydrate goes. But in a sweet potato, burns faster, but the difference may be 6 to 8 hours as far as the actual burning process or your body actually turning it into energy. So in the grand scheme of things, is it really that big of a deal? No, even though we've kind of been told to stay away from them completely. Would I eat it like right before I go to bed or things like that? Probably not. But to have a white potato or white rice or things like that isn't going to kill your diet, and it's definitely not something that you should take out of your diet. And so you have a carb, you have a protein here. Also, your fats are distributed through there, especially in your salmon there. And okay, so going into lunch. Now, at any point, you can go in and exchange these deals out for any option within the exchange list. So rice, every yams or sweet potatoes. Beans, great source of protein, or sorry, source of carbs. Like that. And then your snack protein. The protein powder that we recommend, the only protein that I've found that discloses their third-party testing. I know a lot of people use. We talked about Herbalife. We talked about Advocare earlier with a couple of people that were at the gym. None of those companies have ever disclosed their third-party testing. Granted, they say that we're tested, we're approved. Actually, no supplement is actually approved by the FDA for consumption. They don't have to be. So a lot of them, skip that whole deal. And so if they can tell you that we've been approved, blah, 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 there's no actual FDA restrictions on supplements or what they actually have to have in them. So, it's kind of crap that a lot of companies go around and they advertise that, we only have this and that, but, if you're not willing to give up, what's actually in it, then, I can't help but to be skeptical or kind of have questions about it. And so the reason that we use All Max and the reason that that's what you see in the gym is that they're one of the only companies that I've ever seen that will disclose that information. Um, so that's why we use them. Of course, you can use whatever protein you want, but as a recommendation, that's what I recommend. Um, then kind of dinner. This is where you can kind of exchange out a little bit for. I know Leslie was asking about the vegetable deals, and she wanted to put a little bit more vegetables in her diet. And the reason being is just that vegetables are a lot of times very high in carbohydrates, and that's what we're trying to limit within this meal plan. And so, a lot of times in the dinner throughout this meal plan is where it's going to allow you to have those vegetables and have those extra carbohydrates. Um, Simple carbohydrates, of course, because you want to be able to burn those before bed, but carbohydrates nonetheless. Any questions about this so far? Do I have any? Yeah. Questions. Okay. So, it's taking forever to pull up the exchange list just because the internet is being a little bit slow. Um, but if you're at home and you can pull up the exchange list, you can kind of see the different options there. And if you had a higher calorie count or that you needed to get in kind of that sixth meal of the day, it would have an extra meal there at the end. And so, kind of backing out of the actual meal plan and going into backing out of the meal plan and kind of going into a different type of meal plan, or the meal plan for those of you that are, not in the 6 week challenge or looking for a little bit more sustainable or something going on in the future. I'll kind of show you what one of those looks like, and you can check that out. Hopefully. Hey, can you put in your password? Hey, password.
Muted. Unmuted.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully you guys are still with me. But so going back into the meal plan and looking at a different type of meal plan and kind of what that has to offer and what you're actually going to get out of that. Um, you know, so we'll add one that's a little bit not so specific as far as the calorie healthy heart deal. So we'll pick, let's just say lean and toned physique. That sounds pretty good to me. We'll save that one. Now we'll add it to our recommended meals. So day one, again, I've kind of added my goals pretty high for this, so it's giving me 3,200 calories. That's me. That's going to be what I need to intake, not necessarily what everyone else is going to be at. So all right, so Shannon had a question about. Sorry, I'm just going to get into this one. Shannon had a question about adding seasoning and things like that to your food. Yes, season your food. We don't want you to just eat it bland, but don't go overboard with the extra preparation. Don't smother it in ranch dressing or smother in barbecue sauce, things like that. Have moderation with what you're doing. But yes, putting hot sauce or putting condiments and things like that on your food, yes, it's okay. Just have moderation and be able to plan out and portion out what you're actually putting on it. Hopefully that answers your question. If you want me to go in a little bit more detail about it, let me know. But I don't think you can are connected to an audio source, so I can't actually ask you. But if once you get done with kind of that first 6 weeks or that first, we put you on a little bit more. It opens the options up a ton. I mean, if you look at the exchange list on one of the other meal plans, I mean, it's pretty substantial with the amount of deals. Now, it still kind of puts you kind of in a streamline or kind of limits you on what you're able to put in it. And that's strictly just kind of putting you on the foolproof. Okay, we want you to have we want you to have a vegetable, we want you to have, a carb, we want you to have a protein, things like that. So it gives you options within those actual like subsections in order for you to be able to have kind of freedom within it, but also making sure that you're able to get the things that it wants you to have within the meal plan. Okay, so like it says here, it wants you to have crushed walnuts or chopped walnuts, but it's going to give you the option to choose, whether you want just walnuts, or you can have peanut butter, things like that. So it actually gives you the ability to kind of, still be on a diet or be on a meal plan, but still have kind of the ability to switch it up a little bit. And so this is kind of what we switch you into after your 6 weeks. A couple of people that have been at the gym that have actually decided that they wanted to use it. I know one person who started it about 2 weeks is on a similar plan to this, and in the past 2 weeks, I believe he's down about 22 pounds so far. So he was at the gym for about almost a year or so until he decided that he wanted to actually try out this meal plan, and now is pretty successful with it and being able to use it and things like that. So, like I said, the meal plan after the 6 weeks or after your initial 6 weeks kind of opens up pretty good. Yes, it's going to add a lot more stuff to your grocery list, but for those people that are looking for a little bit more variety, things like that, it's going to give you that, and you're going to be able to actually kind of have more food, more of kind of what you want, but still kind of keeping you on a kind of on a path or keeping you in your lane where you want to go. And so just showing you just a little bit of it and kind of the exchange list and how much is actually on the exchange list. Leslie, you do get your vegetables back. We won't steal them from you forever. Okay, so logging your meals within the system. Yes, you can use MyFitnessPal, but you guys have to be able to log your meals because you have to be able to know exactly what you're putting in your body, to know what you want to put out. There's a pretty good, there's a pretty simple kind of ratio or equation as far as losing weight. So a pound of fat is 4,200 calories. So in order for you to lose a pound of fat, that's the deficit that you need to be at in order for you to lose that. But so you have to have, in general, every person burns about, or for women, we'll say, is about 1,100 calories a day, depending on your job, depending on your activity level. That's just your metabolism working throughout the day. So if your body's burning 1,200 calories just you being alive, and assuming that you're eating a diet or that your body is performing at a level that's actually going to burn those calories in a day, you're burning 1,200 calories in a day. Then you want to lose, say, 2 pounds a week, and so you have your body burns 1,200 calories. You're eating 1,200 calories, and then so you need to get to that 4,200 calorie deficit in a week in order to lose that pound. So you want to figure out, and you want to figure out daily, how much exercise, how much cardio do I need to do in a day in order to be at a deficit, and that's kind of basically the equation as far as losing weight. So basically, you take your metabolism, and then the food that you're intaking that day, minus your calorie burn, which I believe is kind of even how MyFitnessPal even equates it out at the top of the page. When you put it in there, it gives you kind of the overall. And so tracking your food in here, I'll just go through it really quickly. If you are eating exactly what's on the meal plan, okay, you can just copy it from whatever day that it's on the meal plan that you actually did it from, and it will just copy it straight into there for every meal. Okay. If you've entered in a favorite meal in this favorite meal section, and you had that favorite meal, then so if I copied my favorite meal, which I don't have one in there right now, but if I wanted to, or if I added a favorite meal in this section here, then I could actually just copy that into there. And if I eat this this dinner from day one of the stream and fat loss formula, and I think, hey man, that's a really good meal, I really like that, I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to save it as my sirloin meal, save. Okay. Or if you go to a restaurant and you really like that meal, so then you could just copy it in. Or if you went to a certain restaurant on a certain date, then you could actually go in and put it in from there. So it makes it pretty easy to kind of go back, or to track your meals based on this here. And so reporting meals, I have a lot of people that ask about how they're going to get their meals from here, how they save their meals. So you would go to this little print deal here, click the print button, and so this is going to give you your logged meals here. So your logged meal, or your nutrient summary is going to give you a breakdown of your sugars, your vitamin C, your vitamin D, all of that within your that you've actually logged throughout that week. So you're able to see how much sugar you're eating, things like that. And so if you click that, and then you're gonna preview report. I won't do it now because it's really weird with Macs sometimes, in the way that it does it. But a lot of the times I'll just email it to myself. Let's see if we can get it to pull up here. Oh, yeah, so I won't pull up today just because my pop-up blocker won't let it. But at any rate, you could email it to yourself, and then you'll be able to see it, or you'll be able to print it out. And your meal log history, you can go back as far as you want to, as far as what you ate, what you've been doing. Calorie tracker, that'll just literally tell you how many calories you ate each day and the amount of calorie output each day. So it'll be able to tell you exactly how much you put in, how much you put out. And you'll be able to track it that way. Body composition is going to tell you a little bit more about, if you're tracking your weights through the ProDiet software, then it'll tell you kind of how you're losing the weight as you go along. Your meal details, that'll have your meals listed out, as well as a full kind of breakdown of your nutrition, or the nutrients, the sugars, things like that, the fats in each meal. And then your exercise log, that'll just tell you how much you're actually burning from each exercise or each day of exercise. And so kind of print out your meal plan. If you need to just print out the pure meal plan that's in the extreme fat loss formula, if you want to have that with you or take that with you throughout the day, if you want to if you're out and about and you want to think, hey, I want to go to a restaurant, but I still want to be on track. What do I need to order off the menu to be able to, stay in line with what I want to do? You could print this diet off and you could take it around with you and you could have it with you all the time. There's also the option to, get a meal plan, or a meal plan, not a meal plan, but a grocery list. And so you can actually email yourself a grocery list, or within the actual app, you have the ability to pull up a grocery list there. And don't have the connection for my computer to actually show you guys the actual app and how to do it in the app. But if you want me to, when you come in for a session, I'll actually pull up the app and I'll show you how to pull up the grocery list and everything like that, and do it through your cell phone. So you can do it that way. And so let's see, we've talked about favorite meals. That's my solo meal. So I'm able to put that in there. Favorite foods, I can add in my favorite foods. Has a couple different recipes in here. Different things if you want to check those out. These are just a couple different kind of newsletter type deals that they've kind of been put out there. Composition. I said earlier in the if you want to track your weight only, if you want to track the body fat percentages that we do at the gym with the handheld, you're able to do that. The three pinch test, the 3-pinch test, 5-site, or just your waist. Oh, only has your waist in there. Interesting. Oh, okay. So, let's see. Any other options that we need to talk about here? Any questions about this as far as the meal plan, how to use it, other than what I've showed you? You can type them or raise your hand and I'll just pull up I'll turn your audio on. No. Okay, guys, like I said, we'll go in a little bit more into nutrition on Tuesday. If you want to join in that, I'll talk about water. We'll talk about a little bit more in depth, and as well as the deeper I go into kind of my nutrition certification and things like that. I'll definitely put out more in depth and more informational things. As I continue to learn, I'll continue to give you guys that stuff. And so, if you guys have any questions or think of any questions, either you can shoot me an email or you can ask me at the gym. I'll try to put out a list of different carbohydrates, different proteins, different fats that you might want to use or eat, things like that are going to be good for you in helping you to kind of reach your goals, things like that. But other than that, if you guys don't have any questions, then we'll kind of wrap it up here. And so if you have any questions or anything like that, just let me know.
I don't have any questions about this, but I do have a question.
But
Are you not going to have a 5 and 6 session next Friday?
uh, Friday, no, we're not. We're actually headed to Ted that works out at 4 o'clock. We're actually going to head to his birthday party. He's having a 50th birthday party. So
Okay.
if you want to work out at 4, you can do that. But after that, we're going to head to his birthday party. And I need to also, if you're on here and you plan to come to the class on this coming Monday, we do have class. It's the following Monday that I'll actually be gone to a golf tournament. So I will actually go on and change that.
So May 2nd, you do have class on May 2nd?
May 2nd, we will have class on that.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I'm showing you all this stuff. But I'll go and change that now. But yeah, if you guys don't have any other questions, I will wrap this up here.
Thank you.
Yes, you guys have a good night, and I will see you either tomorrow or Saturday.
Okay.
All right,
Good night.
Thanks.
night.
Have a good night.